Hello and welcome back to some more Rune Factory. What's tomorrow's weather, honey?
Salabim. Sim, 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 salabim.
Rainy is fine. Wait, no, there's supposed to be an event tomorrow. I don't think it will rain. Even if it does, that's fine. Anyway, here I have with me Azura, and we're going to continue on with some more magic keyword smasher pass, because, I mean, why not, right? We have a whole lot more, keywords to get through.
Sure.
So the first one on the register for today is the evolve keyword. Let me just do this real quick. Evolve is a keyword on creatures that allows them to grow larger. See, told you it wasn't gonna rain. When a creature enters the battlefield under the player's control, if that creature has more power or toughness, than the creature with evolve will get a plus counter. What do you think? Is there a smash or pass?
I guess smash.
Cool. Evoke is an alternate casting cost for a creature. Apparently it's only on creatures. Generally much lower than its regular cost. And if you cast a spell for its evoke cost, then after it comes into play, you have to sacrifice it. All cards with evoke have additional effects upon either entering or leaving the battlefield. So you can basically turn a creature into a sorcery, or an instant, if it has flash.
Okay. Like, are there things that can prevent you from, doing, like, sorceries or whatever?
I mean, you might, say, be playing a deck that revolves around casting creatures, like, oh, all of your creature spells are cheaper, so the evoke creature is going to be cheaper, or play a deck that can reanimate creatures from the graveyard. I think the most famous evoke creature is actually, ironically, one I can't remember the name of. But it's essentially, it's a 5-mana flying 2/2. When it ETBs, you draw 2 cards, but you can evoke it for just 3 mana, turning into a divination, a sorcery that's just 3 mana, draw 2 cards. But with strict upside, because you can pay an extra 2 mana to have a 2/2 flyer, on top of drawing 2 cards.
I don't know. That seems... I'm gonna pass on that.
Alright. Exalted. Whenever a creature attacks alone, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature that player controls that has Exalted. Sorry, not just each creature, each permanent that player has with Exalted.
Okay. Say that again.
Whenever a creature attacks alone, like just one creature attacking, no more, it will get +1/+1 until end of turn for each permanent that player controls with Exalted.
So if you say, I'm gonna have this creature attack alone, and I've got 5 other creatures all with Exalted, but they're just gonna sit back, then that creature has a +5/+5, basically?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yep.
Basically the equivalent of, having a party with, like, one fighter, and then there's, like, everyone else's support.
Basically, yeah. You only have to worry about just that one attacking.
Yeah. Interesting. Sure.
I remember one of the first rares I ever had was a 4-mana angel that gives all of your creatures exalted.
Oh.
And exalted stacks, so if something has exalted twice, it will trigger twice. So if you get out multiple of that angel, and then attack with just one little thing, it's gonna get a pretty good bonus. There's also a land with exalted, which is pretty neat. Exert. Maybe I should put that exalted on. Nah. Exert is an ability that appears on creature cards. Depending on the card, a creature with this ability can be exerted to either activate the ability or exerted during its attack. At a cost, so when the creature taps, either through attacking or the ability, depending on the creature itself, you can choose to have it not untap during your next untap step, but in exchange you get a bonus.
And what's this ability called?
Exert.
I'm thinking no.
No?
Pass.
Alright. Exploit. It's an ability that appears on creatures. It gives the player who casts it the option to sacrifice a creature they control when it enters, so that a special ability will happen. So it's like, when this creature ETBs, you may sacrifice a creature. If you do X.
I don't know. That sounds... I mean, it just sounds like, hey, the cost to use this is the mana cost. Oh, and also one of your things.
Do note that exploit creatures can sacrifice themselves.
Uh-huh.
So once again, it could turn a creature into a sorcery.
Again, I say no.
Alright, explore. When a creature explores, its controller reveals the top card of their library. If it's a land, they put into their hand. Otherwise, they put a plus counter on the creature and can choose to either leave the card on top or put it in their graveyard.
Interesting.
Alright, da-da-da. Alright, what do we want here? Bless the island. Furthest northeast, and check for an amethyst. Wait, technically the time hasn't started yet because he didn't say start.
You said goo.
The game is lagging so much right now. Alright, Sort. Fabricate. Fabricate X. When a creature with Fabricate ETBs, its controller either puts X plus counters on it or creates X 1/1 colorless artifact servo creature tokens. So either X plus counters or X creature tokens.
I mean, that sounds decent.
So you can either buff the creature or have extras. Alright, where is this little amethyst thingy? Ah. Alright, cool. Time to head back now. Fading! Fading X. A permanent with fading ETBs with X fade counters on it. At the beginning of its controller's upkeep, a fade counter is removed. If a counter cannot be removed, the card is sacrificed.
So basically, it's a card with a time limit.
Yes.
Pass.
Yeah, another negative ability. Fate Seal. Fate Seal X. To Fate Seal, a player looks at the top X cards of an opponent's deck and put any number of those on the bottom.
Weird. Give it to him.
You took less than 3 hours. I thought I'd have to reload the save and, like, cheat to do it.
Nope.
Oh well, anyway. To my no. Alright. So, Fate Seal, what do you think?
So to clarify again, it's look at the top however many cards of your opponent's deck.
Morning.
And put some on the bottom of their deck.
Morning.
However many you want on the bottom.
Interesting. So it's an opportunity to look at some of the cards on their deck and possibly put, ones that you don't like so that they're at the very end of what your opponent can play. Unless, of course, they do something that shuffles the deck.
Yes. So, like, if they really need extra mana, you can put, like, some lands on the bottom. Or if they have a bunch of mana, you can, like, keep some lands on top.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that sounds usable.
Alright.
Smash.
Cool. Flanking. You play D&D, flanking is useful. When a creature with flanking is blocked by a creature without flanking, the blocking creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. For the record, the ability stacks if the creature has multiple instances of flanking.
Interesting. Yeah, that sounds like it can be useful. Smash.
Flashback. It only appears on instants and sorceries. When a card with this ability is in a player's graveyard, they can cast it by paying the flashback cost, and then the card is put into exile.
Morning. Lord.
Let me think about that a moment.
Good morning.
Yeah, I guess.
Uh,
Smash.
Flip! Yeah. Flip. A keyword action that specifically deals with flip cards. Each of these cards has 2 sets of normal card attributes, name, rules, text, power, toughness, one right side up and the other upside down. So you play it like right side up originally, and then after you do whatever it tells you to do, you can flip it and get usually a more powerful card out on the battlefield.
That's another werewolf thing, right?
No, because flip, you actually, like, flip the, like, yeah, with transform, you flip the card over. With flip, you turn it 180 degrees.
So what you're saying
So
is the one called flip is the one where you don't actually flip it.
Yes.
Poorly named, but yes. Smash.
What?
I think that flip, the keyword, came before they realized they could print, like, art on the backs of cards. Forecast. Forecast cost effect. During a player's upkeep, if they have a card with forecast in their hand, they can pay the forecast cost to activate the forecast ability, which involves revealing the card. Player can only do this once per turn per forecast card.
Good day, love.
So essentially you can cast a spell that'd be either a weak version of a spell or an overcosted spell, but you don't have to use up the card. You just pay some mana, show that you have it, and you get that, and you can do that on each of your turns.
Sure. Smash.
Foretell. To foretell a card, a player pays 2 mana, 2 generic manas, and exiles the card from their hand face down. On any future turn, doesn't have to be their own necessarily, they can cast the card for its foretell cost, which is usually cheaper than its base mana cost. Usually.
Interesting.
So you can help split up the cost of a spell, or like put some cards into exile, and then maybe get a bonus if the card was foretold or something.
It's basically
Generally, it's for making it a bit cheaper.
Basically, it's a Magic the Gathering version of the Pokemon Move Future Sight.
I guess, yeah.
Okay. I'm sure that has its uses. Smash.
Alright. Fortify. It's like an equipment, but it's only on fortifications. So equipment equips equipment onto creatures. Fortify puts fortifications onto lands.
And what does it do?
I mean, it depends on what it is, although it depends on what the fortification card says that it does. There's one that was printed that gives the land indestructible, and whenever it gets tapped, a creature gets +1/+1. But generally, it's the keyword itself, fortify, is essentially the ability to equip lands.
Okay. Okay. I mean, it sounds relatively useful. Smash. Before we continue on, I just want to say I'm kind of regretting getting as much chicken as I did. I went for 10 pieces of chicken. I was not expecting it to be like these pieces of chicken are large.
Yum.
And it's just like this is technically a half order. Like you can get like just 5. But it's just like, my gosh. Well, and here's the thing. I am pretty sure it's about 10. Or whatever. Or about 5. Or about 20 for a full order. Because I am pretty sure every time I've gotten this, I've gotten more than the number of pieces that I specifically ordered.
Interesting.
It's delicious.
Good.
But I don't know if I'll be able to finish it. And the problem is with the way that this stuff is, it doesn't really, I don't think it keeps particularly well, like in the fridge or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm going to obviously be visiting my grandma tomorrow, that reminds me I should probably call her and finalize those plans.
Probably.
But, yeah. Once I finish this one piece of chicken, think what we'll do is we'll set it down and let me take a little breather. It is so good.
Ready for more keywords?
Yeah.
Frenzy. Frenzy X. When a creature with Frenzy attacks and is not blocked, it gets plus X power until end of turn.
Oh. I mean, yes, that does sound good. Like, so it's definitely a smash, but it's just like there's circumstances in which it activates. It seems like it would be a little strange. Like you would only want to, like that would really only work on an opponent that has no creatures in play or has all of their creatures tapped. Because I can't think of a circumstance where they would be more willing to just take more damage directly than potentially lose a creature by defending. Because that's the only reason I can think of, like I would expect, to not, defend is just like, is not being able to, have a creature defend and survive. So it just seems like the circumstances in which it would work are a little limited, but it's still a smash.
Interesting. Graft. Graft X. All creatures with Graft are base 0/0 creatures, but they enter the battlefield with X plus counters on them. Whenever another creature ETBs, the player may move 1 plus counter from any number of creatures with Graft they control onto that creature.
Interesting. What happens if...
So there might be like...
Oh, right, and of course if the creature runs out of tokens because they're a 0/0, they're gone.
Yeah, they'll... Yeah. So there's like 1 mana creatures are Graft 1, so they'll enter with 1 plus counter. Then you can put out another creature and make that one a little bit bigger at the cost of losing your other creature. What do you think? Smash or pass?
Sorry, say it again. My brain blanked.
Graft X.
Oh, graft.
All creatures with...
Wait, sorry, I didn't realize you were still on it.
Yes.
Smash.
Right. Gravestorm. When a player casts a spell with Gravestorm, they put a copy of the spell on the stack for each permanent that was previously put into a graveyard that turn.
Interesting.
Smash or pass?
Sure, smash.
Haunt. Haunt appears on creatures, instants, and sorceries. When a creature with Haunt dies, or when an instant or sorcery with Haunt resolves, the ability triggers, causing the card to be exiled, haunting a creature. Haunt allows the player to use an effect twice. Once when the spell is played, or the creature enters the battlefield, and once when the creature it haunts is put into a graveyard.
Interesting. And can that apply
See,
to any of your creatures only, or can it also be to any of your opponents?
according to this, it looks like it could be any creature.
Okay. Because there's an ability that basically forces an opponent to attack, right?
Eh?
Oh,
Yes, there is. Also, Alicia has something important to tell. Alicia's having a baby.
Sim salabim. Sim 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 salabim.
Mwah. Yes, there is.
yeah. Because
In
basically,
fact, I'm surprised I haven't seen it yet.
my thought is, yeah, you put that on like a weak creature you control, you can, and then you know, activate the whatever ability it is to, you know, force the opponent to attack you, and you defend with that, you know, with that creature that you currently have
Yes.
haunted. So, anyway, I can definitely
So,
see
smash?
definitely smash for haunt.
Cool. Hideaway. When a card with Hideaway enters the battlefield, its controller chooses one card from the top 4 cards of their library and exiles it face down. Each card with Hideaway also has another ability that allows the controller to play the Hidden Away card without paying its mana cost under certain conditions.
Huh?
So, like, you might have, like, hey, here's a land that taps for green, but it has, like, Hideaway. It's like the land enters tapped, and you, like, you know, look at the top 4, you exile a card, and it might be like, oh, well, you can pay a green and tap the land to cast a card for free if your creatures have at least 10 total power or something. So you can cast a card either for free or essentially for a lot cheaper if you can manage to get whatever circumstances are required for the Hideaway to be fulfilled.
So it's basically lock away a card until you can set some arbitrary circumstances.
Yes.
I mean, now here's my question. Can you, you know, use it, you know, like multiple times? Or is it like used just once and then is like sent to the graveyard or something?
Yeah, you can just play the spell once. You can just play the card once.
Okay, yeah, then absolutely not.
No?
That is a.
Alright.
That just seems. That just.
Horsemanship. A creature with horsemanship can only be blocked by other creatures with horsemanship.
So it's like another version of like the flying thing.
Yes.
How common is horsemanship?
Fairly rare.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like, you know, if you have that, it's, you know.
Yeah, if you play that in, like, Commander or something, your creature is essentially going to be unblockable 99% of the time.
Is there anything that has both horsemanship and frenzy?
That is a good question. I'm not sure.
Because that is a combo that would work well. If they're.
Yes.
Yeah. That said, on its own, Like, that's the thing. On its own, as an ability, I'm gonna go...
Essentially unblockable.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
So,
That's
smash?
a smash, yeah.
Right. Infect. Creatures with Infect deal damage to other creatures in the form of -1/-1 counters, and to players in the form of poison counters. And notably, a player who receives 10 poison counters loses the game.
I see.
So in like regular 60 card Magic, instead of having to deal like 20 damage to a player, you can deal 10 infect damage to a player to kill them. I will also point out that there is one card in all of Magic the Gathering that a player can use to remove poison counters from themselves. And I've never seen anyone ever play that card, ever.
I mean, that does sound useful then, so... Smash.
Jumpstart. Spells with Jumpstart can be cast from the graveyard with the additional cost of discarding a card. You still have to pay its mana cost, but... so it isn't just free. After the spell leaves the stack, it is exiled. So similar to Flashback, but you also have to discard a card.
Yeah, no, pass.
Kicker. The kicker cost is an additional and optional cost that can be paid when a card is cast. If the card is kicked, an ability of the card takes effect.
Why does this sound like a football thing?
'Cause it's kick.
Yeah. Hell, I mean, yes?
Alright.
Yeah.
Level up. The abilities are in level up cost. At any time that the player could cast a sorcery, the player may activate the level up ability of a leveler creature to put a level counter on it. Leveler creatures increase in power and gain new abilities as they accumulate level counters, as indicated by the 3 striped bands in the text box. So it's generally like, hey, pay 1 mana, level this up. If you do that twice, instead of being like a 1/1, this is now like a 2/3. If you do it 4 times, it's now a 4/4. If you do it 6 times, it's now a 6/6.
I see.
So, powering up a creature.
I mean, that sounds useful?
So, smash?
Sure.
A living weapon. When an equipment with a living weapon enters the battlefield, its controller makes a 0/0 creature token and puts the equipment onto it. All cards with living weapon give a toughness increase so the token doesn't immediately die.
I mean, I'm curious as to why it isn't just a creature in and of itself.
It's an equipment that makes a creature token.
Yes, I got that. But what I'm asking is why.
Because then you can move the equipment onto another creature if you wanted.
I guess? Smash? Question mark?
Madness. If a player discards a card with Madness, they may pay its Madness cost to cast the card. Madness cost is usually cheaper than the regular cost.
Okay, say that.
So
Say that one more time.
If a player discards a card with Madness, they may pay the Madness cost and cast the card.
Why does this sound exactly like a different card ability?
I don't know.
I get the feeling that there's probably more than one ability that is basically identical to a different ability.
Yeah. I mean, it's had like over 30 years. Some of them are pretty similar.
Okay, I don't know if pretty similar is the word I would use on that one, but yeah. Anyways, that one's a pass.
Alright. Manifest. When a player manifests a card, the player puts it onto the battlefield face down, and while face down, it is a 2/2 creature with no name, abilities, color, or any of that. Face down, yeah, it is a creature. However, if the face down card actually is a creature card, it can be, its controller can turn it face up for its mana cost at any time. Most often, when a card gets manifested, it's an ability that's like, manifest the top card of your library.
I mean, I'm at least familiar with the concept, considering it's basically the same as... Isn't it named the same thing in Aeon's End?
I think so, yeah, something like that. Except in Aeon's End, those are spells. In this, they are creatures.
Well, except remember, we've already said before that every card is a spell.
Yeah, in Magic, everything other than lands is spells.
Yeah. Alright, so it could be a land, but still.
Yeah.
The point is, yeah, okay. I mean, I get it, and that works.
So, Smash?
Sure, yes.
Alright. Meld. Meld is a keyword where two specific cards can be exiled and returned to the battlefield combined into a single creature. So the back sides of both of the cards feature like half of a card's art. So when they're put together, you can see like an oversized version of another card.
Okay, here is an important question. Can you just combine, like, use any two cards with Meld?
No. They have to be two specific cards, because those two cards together form, like, one card art on the back.
That's too bad, because that would actually be kind of awesome. Just, have it just like customizable, just of any card. With any two cards.
But no. So you have to have like 2 specific cards out on the battlefield at once, and usually just having them out is enough to allow them to meld into something much bigger and scarier.
What's up, Doc? Sure.
Sure, alright. Mentor. When a creature with Mentor attacks, a plus counter may be placed on another attacking creature with lower power.
Warning.
Interesting. Sure.
Hello. Good afternoon.
So many people here all of a sudden.
Afternoon.
Hello there.
Well then.
Hey there.
Alright. Miracle. If the first card a player draws during any turn has Miracle, they may reveal the card, and then they may cast the card for its Miracle cost. Notably, the Miracle cost is often much, much lower than its regular casting cost. Like a 7 CMC spell having a Miracle cost of 2.
I mean, yes.
And I remember playing a Miracle card back in Modern at one point. I drew the card, it touched one of the other cards in my hand, and the other player and also the judge argued, no, you're not allowed to use a Miracle card because it touched another one of your cards.
What?
Yep. Official ruling, if you're playing it with Miracle, you have to like look at the card as you draw it before it touches any of your other cards, or else you could like draw a card, shuffle into your hand, reveal some random card, and say this is Miracle and it's what I drew. Because Magic players are exceptionally known for wanting to cheat, so if you play with Miracle, you have to look at every single card you draw before you draw it, in case one of them is a Miracle. Or like, before you finish drawing it. So that's annoying. But, whatever. You get used to drawing that way eventually. Heck, I draw that way anyway now, and I don't even in decks that don't have Miracles.
I see.
But anyway. Modular. Modular X. A creature with Modular enters the battlefield with X plus counters on it, and when that creature is put into a graveyard, its controller may put all of the plus counters on that creature onto a target artifact creature.
Sure, that sounds useful. Smash.
Cool. Monstrosity. Cost Monstrosity X. If a creature is not yet monstrous, this ability makes them monstrous and it gets X plus counters. Some creatures with the ability may gain an additional effect once they become monstrous.
Okay, Discord kind of messed up there, so you're going to need to repeat that, please.
Cost Monstrosity X. If the creature is not already monstrous, you may pay the cost, make it monstrous, and give it X plus counters. Some creatures with the ability also gain an additional effect once they become monstrous.
Interesting.
So, again, it's like leveling up the creature.
Sure.
Cool. I think my favorite monstrous card is a 100-handed one. When it becomes monstrous, it can block an extra 99 creatures each combat.
You know, I just have to say, just the sheer number of abilities, because obviously you're at this point, like, you started with some of the more common ones, and now you've moved on to just going through them alphabetically.
Yep.
And it's just like, it's no wonder that a lot of people just don't really want to get into it, because it sounds so bloody complicated.
Well, the first ones are the evergreen keywords that are in essentially every set. Flying, trample, haste, vigilance. And then these ones are like, each set introduces one or two new keywords, but a lot of them are like never seen again after their set.
Yeah.
Like, fortification is on one card.
Wait. What?
There was only one fortification card in the entire history of Magic the Gathering.
Okay, if you had told me that back when you mentioned it, I might have answered differently. Because that's the other thing that, affects, whether it be a smash or pass is how often, it actually shows up. Because if only one card has it, it's just like...
I mean, it's more of a... Is this card, a good or not so good ability on its own merit? As opposed to, do you think that the game has a lot of cards with this ability?
Well, that's not my point. What my point is, what I'm saying is just... What was I trying to say? Just give me a moment to fix my thoughts here. Yeah, just give me a moment to fix you.
I've already been fixed.
I don't know. Sometimes you still seem pretty broken to me.
Yeah.
Not housebroken, though. Anyways, what was the one we were currently on?
Monstrosity, and I believe he had said that that was a hit.
Yeah, that was a smash.
That was a smash. Morph. Ability is written as morph cost. A player may, at sorcery speed, cast a morph card from their hand as a 2/2 creature face down for 3 mana.
Hang on a moment, getting a phone call.
Alright. I'll just be here staring at the morph entry. Yummy, yummy morphs. I have a command attack all based around morphs. It's pretty fun to play.
Well, they immediately hung up upon me answering, so great.
Oh, fun. So, morph cards can be considered to be 3 mana 2/2 vanilla creatures. But, at any point, a player may pay the morph cost and turn it face up. A lot of morph cards have special abilities that happen when they get turned face up.
So it's basically like Manifest, except it's the card itself,
Yeah.
and then you get to use it again, use it regular later.
Yeah, so like, yeah. You pay the 3 mana, put the card face down. At any point, you can pay whatever its morph cost is and turn it up. And you usually get like a thing for doing it. Either it's a cheaper way to cast a big creature, well, not necessarily so much cheaper, or it's like, oh, when this is turned up, you can destroy a permanent or something, or when this is turned face up, no combat damage is dealt this turn, because you can do it on an opponent's turn.
Interesting.
I will also note that if a card is manifested and that card has morph, you can turn it up for its morph cost.
Interesting.
So what's the
Oh, I
what's the
thought I
thought
didn't
here?
answer. Yes. Smash.
Okay. Multi-kicker. Basically the same thing as kicker, except you can pay the kicker cost multiple times to do whatever the card says multiple times.
That one is a smash.
Yeah. Alright. We're reaching the end of the episode here, but I think we can do 2 more here. Mutate. If a player casts a spell for its mutate cost... Shoot. If a player casts a spell for its mutate cost, they put it over or under a non-human creature they own and control. The creature mutates into the creature on top, plus all abilities from all creatures underneath it. So you can essentially combine 2 creatures into one.
Interesting. Polymerization. Sure.
Kinda.
Smash.
And the one we're ending off on for this episode is ninjutsu. Ninjutsu cost. If you attack with the creature and that creature is not blocked, then you can pay the ninjutsu cost of a card in your hand to exchange the card in your hand with the attacking creature on the field.
Interesting.
So the ninjutsu card from your hand goes on the field tapped and attacking. The unblocked creature on the field gets put back in your hand.
Sure.
What do you think about... Yes? And as a special one, because it's basically ninjutsu, Commander Ninjutsu, which is basically the same thing, but if your commander has Commander Ninjutsu, you can ninjutsu it into play from the command zone, bypassing command attacks.
Interesting. Very interesting. Sure.
Alright, here it is here. First, folks, a lot of smashes this time around. But we're also ending off the episode here. So tune in next time when we, do more keywords.
And we might have
We're gonna make it through this list eventually. And we might have a baby. That's also gonna be exciting. Right?
Claire, I'm pregnant.
How dare you?